Hello, everyone. I'm getting a little bit excited because it's getting close to Christmas. And actually, I had decorations to get on the set, but we were so busy doing other things. So we're not decorated. I'm going to try to get decorated for tomorrow. Just a little bit of fun stuff for Christmas. All right, let's go to the word. Isaiah 64 and verse 4. And it says this: For since the beginning of the world, men have not heard nor perceived by the ear, neither hath the eye seen, O God, beside thee, what he hath prepared for him that waits for him. Thou meetest him that rejoiceth and worketh righteousness, those that remember thee in thy ways. Behold, thou art wroth, for we have sinned. In those is continuance, and we shall be saved. This is Old English, so a little bit rough on the tongue, but I know this verse so well from the New King James Version or the NIV version, and I know we kind of all choose our different versions, but for since the beginning of the world, we have not heard nor perceived, neither has the eye seen what God is preparing for those who wait for him. I choose to wait for God. You know, in the process of God answering your prayers, how many of you have prayers out there and you'd like those prayers answered, and you kind of think that God is taking a little bit of a long time? Guess what? Sit back. You've presented your petition before him. Let him move. Let him do what he is good at doing. God is good at bringing the right thing, the right answer, the victory at exactly the moment he intends. And while we wait for him, do you know what he's doing? He's checking our faith level. He's checking our trust in him. He's even checking for our character. And he's building good things inside of us. Because long suffering and patience, those are fruits of the Spirit. The only way that we get long suffering and patience is that we have to wait. And we got to figure out how to make it all work while we are waiting. And sometimes we're lacking in patience. Maybe I'm lacking in patience some days. I think so. Probably the people around here might say that I lack patience sometimes. Want to get things done. I'm really super excited about our latest makeover. So we have chosen Joseph, and he is a fellow. And this guy, he's 77. He spent years in prison. He came out, he found the Lord. He spent a certain amount of time living in a church. He found himself on the streets for a certain amount of time, basically pushing a buggy, not living well. He has spent the last few years, he gave up drinking, gave up any kind of substance abuse, lives by himself. There's no hope of sort of like, anything coming in to change his existence. And he says he will die in this room. This is the room where he will spend his last days. And at 77, he's doing well. He can walk around. He's the sweetest, nicest guy. And picture any one of us that our loved one has this only hope. It's a room. He has no television. He has spent his time collecting things to send to the Philippines, where he did live years and years ago for a season until his money ran out. And then he couldn't work in the Philippines, and he couldn't do anything, that would bring work. And so he collects some empties here and there, and this is his life. So we're busy today. Today is tomorrow is painting day. Today we're getting rid of all the boxes. We're cleaning up. Janina is hard at work. We have some elves that are helping. And by the way, can I just put this out there? If there are any of you who would like to invest in helping others, if it would, if you kind of go, I don't know if I feel purpose. Well, can you clean a little? Can you help us to move a couple things? Because as we do a few more of these, anyone in the greater Vancouver area, we would love to work with you, and we'd appreciate your help so much. We've got someone who has volunteered to come and get the TVs up on the wall and, put into the, what do you call that? The television holder thing? It's a, what is that, JT? The mount. Yeah, the TV mount. I know, it's such an easy thing. So you get the TV mounts on Amazon and you get them up on the wall securely. And can you believe, like, just a simple thing? And in these places, the government does provide for cable, but no one has enough money to get the job done and, get all of this. So Joseph has never been able to read or write, and we're going to help him. And this is one of my most glorious, glorious adventures that I'm on. I want to show you a warning from Chief Rabbi to the world before we get into our chat about Candace today. A rabbi is giving us a warning to all of us. It's not just about the Jews and the horrible things that have happened in the last few days to the Jews, but what about the Christians? Take a look.
The mass murder terror attack in Sydney, Australia, was not simply an anti-Semitic incident that got out of control. It was a professional military operation conducted as part of the global jihadist war being waged on every continent. To plan an operation like this takes time and resources, which was only possible in an environment created by the Australian government that has been conducive to the development of radical Islamist infrastructure. An environment that indulges the demonization of Israel and Jews on the streets, that allows people to chant "Gas the Jews" on the Sydney Bridge, that tolerates and even endorses the genocidal slogan "From the river to the sea," a call for the extermination of all Israeli Jews. What happened in Sydney is what globalized the Intifada looks like in action, a jihad against the Jews. It is what happened in Manchester, where a terrorist attacked Jews at prayer on Yom Kippur. It is what happened in Amsterdam, where Israeli football fans were hunted down in the streets. And it can happen anywhere, to any Jewish community in the world, because globalize the Intifada means exactly that, hunting Jews everywhere. It is not a protest movement. It is not resistance. It is a jihad of murder, terror, and destruction. Like the original Intifadas launched against the Jews of Israel, the global version has nothing to do with a Palestinian state. It never has. If it were about a state, there would have been one in 1948, in 1967, in 2001, and many times since. The multi-front Islamist war from Iran to Gaza to Lebanon and Yemen is not about a Palestinian state. It is about jihad, the violent spread of a global Islamist movement whose sole purpose is the destruction of the Jewish state first, and then the West and the rest of the world.
Wow. I mean, it is so terrifying. This is why I came to a place where, I was friends with, a Muslim fellow, and he was from Lebanon, and we just couldn't walk together anymore because he saw the Jewish people as just the enemy. And it's this war, this ancient war, really stemming back to Abraham's seed, Ishmael, okay, and then Isaac, the promised son. And this war has been bad. Now, I'm going to say, I know some really good people that are Muslims by faith and that they are not radicalized, and I like them. And a lot of Muslim people are even coming to know Jesus Christ as their Savior. In fact, in Iran, there's almost like a breakout of people coming to know Jesus. And Jesus is appearing in dreams. All of this is happening. So we give lots of room for this. But this desire to dominate, this desire, this murderous desire, the Word of God says about Satan that he was a murderer from the beginning. This is not part of Christian beliefs. Murdering is not a part of it. We don't dominate. We don't control. We don't make people become Christian. And the Jews don't make people become Jews. But the Islamists, the radicals, it's really difficult. And my heart hurts And I pray that if anyone is ever watching, that they would choose life. If there's someone that feels these ideologies have been seeded into their hearts and lives, I pray that you would understand this is not God's way. This is not what God wanted. He does not want this murderous spirit. It also ends up getting you killed. And that is not the way to heaven at all. Now, Mike Winger is bringing quite a warning. He says, very real warning about coming massacre of Christians on Christmas. This video seems to be getting suppressed reach on YouTube based on analytics, so I hope it does better here. Go to congress.gov and scroll down, enter your state and email your representatives, letter to Congress and Senate. And he's got a letter that can be sent. So let's have a look at what Mike is saying.
So the information is that there's multiple specific towns. Judge Saul even knows the towns that are going to be attacked. He's warning the governments of these things. The Nigerian government historically doesn't care, doesn't do anything. Even recently, there were 300 kids that were kidnapped. You guys heard this story. 300 kids that were kidnapped just 3 weeks ago. And so far, while in the U.S., if that happened, those kidnappers would be dead or in custody and those kids would be free already. It would have happened within 24 hours. In Nigeria, it's been over 3 weeks. 100 of them have been released with no information from the government. We don't know why they were released. They were probably paid off, which means they got more money to buy guns and do even worse stuff this Christmas. And the other 200 are just still with them. This is insane. This stuff is insane. So Judd reached out to me and was like, hey, Mike, please help raise awareness. We want to stir up our government. We want to stir up our people. And we want to cause something to happen to protect the Christians on the ground in Nigeria this Christmas because a significant massacre is planned. So he has inside sources, people that are on the ground. They've been doing this for years now, this website, truthnigeria.com, and it's been very successful at reliably communicating when terror is going to happen.
Oh, I am just horrified. And to hear the stories, and now, like, for some reason, Facebook has suppressed the video of this guy in Nigeria begging for help, and he's standing in an open grave. And maybe Facebook has suppressed it because it's so purely evil. But the problem is that people need to be made aware. And so I hope that Mark Zuckerberg, he being a Jew himself, understanding anti-Semitism harms people. Well, so does, anti-Christendom. And this is what's happening in Nigeria. These, again, Islamic terrorists that are going after the Christians in Nigeria. And then a lot of stuff being put out. Oh, it's not true. There's no genocide of the Christians. And when in actuality, that is exactly what is going on. So that we have insiders, people know what is happening. So I do pray that you will write to your senators. If you know somebody in high places, please. Donald Trump was actually saying, if this doesn't stop, we're going to do something. And Donald Trump is exactly the kind of president that takes care of business. And this needs to be dealt with, because if Nigeria falls, understand that Nigeria, with its strong already Islamic presence, if it falls to Islam, if it is taken over, if it is seized, that means it opens the door for all of Africa. And this is conquering. Christians aren't here to conquer, to force people to have, to believe in Jesus. But this is so hard. It really, really is. We're going to get into Candace now, and I have a New York Post article that I'd like to start with. I have it shared here, JT, if you can help me get there. And so the New York Post, Inside Candace Owens' Sadistic and Dangerous World Monetizing Baseless Conspiracies. And I hate to laugh, but it's like, wow, I have never seen anything like this. And I love Piers Morgan's ripping to shreds the things that Candace Owens has said, and I believe that we have some things to share on that. So Candace Owens' attacks on Erica Kirk are fueled by her own jealousy and bitterness at being pushed out of Turning Point USA, sources claim to the Post. The independent broadcaster, 36, described as sadistic and dangerous by insiders, didn't hold back from spreading baseless conspiracy theories about the grieving widow and her husband, activist Charlie Kirk, after he was assassinated on September 10th. I can't even imagine that this woman claims Charlie Kirk was her friend. Well, let me tell you, he's in heaven now, maybe getting a little glimpse here and there of what's going on earth, and you are probably the least favorite person on this planet to him. You are literally destroying Turning Point. You are calling into question Rob McCoy. Now, I know you don't like his face or his way, and I don't think he should have, interviewed a guy he interviewed a while ago who had charges of SA and all kinds of things. That's sad, but it doesn't mean that you can go with a platform. You are the largest podcaster on the planet, that you can then just take people's lives and begin destroying them so that they have to get security guards because the death threats become so imminent that another one of these yakkadoodles is going to go after people like Rob McCoy or, Dr. Frank Turek, Mickey McCoy, who you also don't like. These are just people that, for goodness sakes, unless you have proof, you can't just go around saying, I just feel, I don't know, no, but I know that somehow they maybe have something to do with all of this. And putting Turning Point down, then going after one of the things that Erica Kirk was very upset about at the meeting. And Lord knows, we're never going to get the truth of how that meeting went, truly, from Candace Owens, because Piers Morgan was asking her, did Erica say anything more? And you can actually tell that Candace is lying. The way that you can tell Candace is lying, she has tells. She kind of gets tongue-tied because the girl is rarely tongue-tied. Long as she's got her lies ready, she is just right? She doesn't skip a beat. I mean, that's how you know, like, her mind just works really fast and she comes up with all of these things. And she's also slippery. It's all slithery. And I'm going to read you later from Proverbs about what the word has to say about people like this. You can't trust them. And for sure, Charlie Kirk is up in heaven going, I should have listened to the people who told me to have nothing to do with Candace, because he was told. And Charlie Kirk was not perfect. He was walking through all of this. He began to get affected by Kanye West, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson. These were bigwigs. These are very brilliant people, but they don't have the right end of the stick regarding Israel. And for sure, Charlie Kirk probably had a little bit of, hearing them, like, yakking in his ear all the time. Do I think he was turning against Israel? Absolutely not. Was he getting influenced by them? Yes, I think so. But part of the problem is that they were saying, don't have Tucker Carlson on your platform. Don't have Candace Owens. Who you give a platform to is important. And if you're giving a bad person, okay, let's say Nick Fuentes. All right, this is a guy, a complete anti-Semite, and he actually has some brilliant things. I agree with him on other sides. I mean, for one thing, I'm right on board with Nick about Candace, because he calls it straight out about her. Nonetheless, I mean, they're just destroying each other, which is great. The Bible says that the wicked will destroy one another. But Nick Fuentes, if you ever interview him, it would behoove someone. And I wouldn't, like, even if I ever had the opportunity, and I'm sure I'm way too small, he would never agree to come on this podcast. We should ask him. Toby, ask Nick. Okay, but he's going to say no. I'm a nobody. But in any case, if we did, we'd want to have a bit of pushback. We'd want to call into question some of the horrible things, that he's saying. And I'll tell you one thing, is that everyone is on to her. They are on to her. It says here in the New York Post, for those who have crossed her path, Owens' disregard for the truth, pursuit of attention, and reckless behavior are all calculated. I really believe that. That look in her eyes, she has a look that she is just so sure of herself. It's very practiced. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that she feels positive about everything, because I did have a little I found this place where after she got such negative reviews on her first video after meeting with Erica, that she had to put out a statement and then she deleted it. But we'll talk more about that in a bit. This says those who spoke to the Post claim Owens was loathed by staff when she worked at the Daily Wire. Guests on her podcast doubt she believes her own lies, and her pattern of inflammatory behavior can be traced all the way back to high school. So when you click on this in pattern of inflammatory behavior, you know, kind of interesting, because November 24th, 2025, French-Israeli hit squad, as Candace Owens spirals into lunacy, blame the digital media cesspool. Anyways, it has some very interesting things regarding. Could someone who cares about Candace Owens please get her to a psychiatrist? It says, obviously, they are not digging Candy Farmer. So then again, the millions of viewers who lap up her crazed content could probably use a head check too. In an ex-post Saturday, Owens claimed that a high-ranking employee of the French government had warned her that President Emmanuel Macron and First Lady Brigitte Macron have executed upon and paid for her assassination, and the kill squad includes at least one Israeli, of course. She's losing her last pinky finger hold on reality. These paranoid delusions of grandeur are no surprise to anyone who's been paying the slightest attention to Owen's decline. And that is the problem, is that not everyone has been paying attention to Owen's decline. And I actually end up hearing from some of you. And I'll tell you my concern just before we read this more. My concern is that we have been hoodwinked by government. We have been gaslit, lied to. We have all kinds of understanding now that the government can do crazy stuff, that we can't trust authorities, that certain people are bought, and that what goes down is not always what's best for us. So we've lost our trust. I'm also concerned we've lost our discernment, because there comes a time when, just because we don't trust the government, and we know that JFK, the killing and the shooting of JFK, and what we will probably never know about all of that, what we will never know about Epstein, because some people saying that there was time to have things erased, everything that they were hoping to find, they haven't found. I don't know. Is it protecting? Like, you do hope and wish that justice would be brought. So many things don't see justice on this earth, but there is justice. There is justice ultimately. All of that doesn't mean that at some point there's not a crazy situation going down where one person is causing mayhem to the whole world. And those that live and follow Candace Owens and do not have discernment, cannot actually see the lies, that is concerning to me. And it is actually so many people that I'm alarmed, because if we can see the truth, we can kind of navigate through the lies, and we can have the power of the Holy Spirit to help us. But those people that write me, and actually it's very few, because a lot of you that are watching me, you're also very onto Candy. You get it. She's not well. People bring up all kinds of things, like potentially it looks like schizophrenia. Schizophrenics often, they begin to go into big storytelling, and they believe certain things, and it's very dramatic. It's very dramatic. It's big, Since she said that there was a hit put on her, of course, she notifies the FBI, who she doesn't absolutely trust. So it's like, you don't trust the FBI, but oh, as soon as you think that there's a hit out on you, then, don't you think maybe it's the FBI? But she notifies them, so she just reveals that she doesn't actually believe what she's saying. She doesn't actually believe that. And all of the lies, they just begin mashing together. And sooner or later, even Candace Owens, with the brilliant mind she has, and there's no doubt that she is so smart. She riffs her shows. She says she doesn't use a teleprompter. I don't know. I mean, she just talks and talks and talks. I know what it's like to be able to talk, but she just has so many facts and she has it in her mind. She's staring at she must have this memorized, I don't know how you do that, right? I'm just not that good. But you wish that she would use her power for something better. Instead, conspiracy theories, they're all about her. It's all about her. It's all about what she thinks. She talks about going to visit with Erica. I thought it was very offensive. Like, she doesn't even see how offensive it is to say that she wouldn't drink the water they offered her. Why? Does she think that she's meeting with people that are going to kill her? The whole world is watching this meeting and she won't drink the water they offer. She brings her own cup of water. Probably wouldn't eat any food they offered. They probably wanted to make her comfortable and she probably said no. I mean, it's all really ridiculous. So everything she's doing right now, it says here, is because she wants to destroy Charlie's legacy and the organization that he built because he threw her out of TPUSA, alleged one insider. And this is true. He was in one of his last, exchanges on that. A whole bunch of people were on a feed, and he said he was kind of mad. He felt like people were putting him down, calling him anti-Semitic. And I think it's because he had Tucker Carlson on his stage. I don't understand why he had Tucker Carlson on his stage. Tucker Carlson is spewing Jew hatred. He has all the wrong facts about Qatar and how many churches are there. He has the wrong facts about Sharia law. He talks about Sharia like, oh, who's going to worry about Sharia law? Something's happened to Tucker. And for whatever reason, Charlie didn't see it. And when he had someone who is building hatred in the nations towards the Jews, and your biggest sponsors are the Jews. Now, Candace Owens was just asking if Qatar, she goes, how do I get a hold of that Qatar money? Hey, if somebody wants to pay me to be for Qatar, I'll be for Qatar. I'm not ashamed. I'll take the money. She just said it. Was it yesterday? I think so. She wants Qatari money. Well, Charlie Kirk was getting funded and blessed and honored and supported by the Jewish community. And using that money, he then had events where he had Tucker Carlson come on and spew hatred towards the Jews. Does that make sense to any of you? It doesn't make sense to me. And I love Charlie Kirk. I love what he did. I love the influence he had on the young and the youth that were thinking critically because of him. I love it. Good man. We'll always miss Charlie Kirk, and we pray for 100 more to rise. But if you're getting money from a canning company, and then you have someone come on stage and tell everyone that you should never eat from cans because there's viruses in the cans, how is the canning company going to keep supporting your organization? This is what happened. So he wasn't having Candace on because she was too controversial. The things she says, calling the Jews vermin, cursing families, cursing anyone who would support the Jews. And I mean, some of her worst things have been said even, after Charlie's death. This is a very sick and angry woman. All right. So in any case, they have written quite a an article regarding the possibilities of why Candace Owens would now turn against Charlie Kirk. And there's good evidence that she might have sort of had a crush on him. And that makes sense. Good looking guy. But Charlie didn't choose her. Charlie, very clearly. If you watch their love stories, it's one of the cutest love stories of all time. And instead of hiring Erica Kirk, he said, "No, I'm going to date you." And he knew that he couldn't hire her. And, Candace was on the sideline, maybe hoping that it would be her. And instead, she was in the friend category. And Charlie was a loyal friend to her. Too loyal, perhaps. I remember my dad telling me, "You're loyal to a fault, Laura-Lynn. And sometimes it gets you in trouble when you're loyal to people you shouldn't be loyal to." And that happened. So, Megyn Kelly has been one of the biggest shocks. I mentioned yesterday that she just lost it with her mouth. So I think we've cleaned it up. Is that right, Marcia? It's like totally presentable. Your kids will just hear a lot of beeps. All right. But I'm in shock at Megyn Kelly, and it really shows her lack of character and strength. It's interesting that even someone with as powerful a platform as Megyn Kelly. Now, I remember when she got kicked off of Fox because she just started hating on Donald Trump. I was in shock at her vitriol, and the country was moving towards Donald Trump and getting him in the first time, and so she was let go, and it was like good riddance. Well, over the years, you kind of come back and check out where she's at, and she seems to have a wake up. So now she's fairly supportive of Donald Trump, quite, really has caught the right end of the stick. But now, you see that in the face of Candace Owens, she cannot be honest about this because Candace has the potential to turn against Megyn Kelly. And that is something she's not prepared to do. So she's not strong. Now, Piers Morgan, he's strong. He's like, "I don't give a rat's. I'm going to call her out on everything she's doing." That is strength. Megyn Kelly, I believe, should be that strong. And I think she'd win in the long run because right now she's losing. Everyone on her feed just hates what she's saying. Take a look at her vitriolic, bad word infused outtake. There you go.
To be honest, I wish Candace wouldn't be pursuing the Turning Point narrative at all. Never mind Erica. Though again, she hasn't graduated to blaming Erica for Charlie's murder. She's criticizing her and the media tour. And that is fair game. That piece of it is fair game. So in any event, Candace knows I disagree with her on this. Petty internet people want to turn that into a cat fight between Candace and yours truly, which will fail. She and I actually have only gotten closer over the past couple of months as people try to make me attack her. So off, okay? I have no obligation to you to hate the people you hate or try to bring down the people you want brought down. I'm sorry, but if that's what you want from me, you do need to move on. It's not going to happen.
So we took out that little word there, but what are we to make of her discernment that we've just got even closer? They're just sucking up to each other. And for what it's worth, I think Candace was very careful about going after Megyn Kelly, but she would, because a while ago they weren't talking at all. So Candace is putting it out there like, well, Megyn hasn't done this or that or this, and she's kind of letting her know, "I'm glad you're not doing such and such, because if you do, then you're going to be my fair game too." And you know how people can be boxers in a ring and you have rules? Candace is a back alley, dirty fighter. All gloves off, no rules when she fights. That's how she fights. And the sadness is that Megyn Kelly couldn't stand up to it. So it gets a little bit worse in this one. Take a listen.
To the hateful people whom I used to call friends, who have been all over the internet trying to shame me and say that no one should ever listen to this program again because I haven't spoken out on the Erica-Candace conflict. I don't have any pearls of wisdom other than go fuck yourselves. Go fuck yourselves. You have no fucking clue what's going on. You don't know what I do behind the scenes. And your world is so myopically online, you fail to understand there are real humans involved here. and actually being able to touch grass and have relationships with them, which is something I'm doing, could prove to actually benefit all involved. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't at all, but it's at least got a shot. I'm not sure your Twitter shame game has gotten anything of value done.
So myopically online. She's actually saying, you lowlives who are online all the time, watching her show, putting down the audience, your myopic lives online. I mean, now this is the world we're in. We all get our information off of YouTube. I like getting my news off of there. I'm really getting over TV lately because I can hear it real early in the day online. I can watch my favorite people like Pastor Ray in Ohio for Freedom, all the podcasters. I can watch them and I can hear what the Lord is saying through people that have the word of the Lord. That does not include some of these big preachers. I can choose not to watch them. But what Megyn Kelly is doing right now is she's just literally saying, she's insulting people, and she's the one who's online every day. So if you go to that video, you can't find a positive comment about her. I mean, she must be taking a hit. I mean, I don't want to watch her. Like, how bad does her discernment have to be at this hour where Candace Owens is destroying Charlie Kirk's life, his legacy, everything he built, and causing grief to the love of his life, Erica Kirk? How bad does your discernment have to be, Megyn Kelly, to say, I'm actually getting closer to her? I'm just so done. Like, I thought you were kind of crazy years ago. I'm back to that. That's for sure. All right. And so one more thing I want to show you is this is Candace after she met Erica.
In her first podcast episode, after what she described as a 4.5-hour conversation with Erica Kirk, conservative podcaster Candace Owens said she still does not believe that the person charged with murder for Charlie Kirk's death is solely responsible. Erica Kirk's efforts to tamp down on speculation about her husband's murder have not appeared to dissuade Owens. Candace Owens, one of the nation's most watched personalities, has seen her prominence grow while boosting conspiracy theories and anti-Semitic tropes about Charlie Kirk's death. Owens said her suspicions about certain employees at Turning Point USA, the conservative organizing group Kirk co-founded and where she once worked, hadn't been assuaged by her meeting with Erica Kirk and other Turning Point staffers. Owens heavily implied that she believes Israel had something to do with Kirk's death. This promoted an unsubstantiated theory that Israeli officials have denied, and that some of her critics say is evidence that she is boosting anti-Semitism. Erica Kirk has not commented on their meeting beyond a post on X in which she said, "A very productive conversation" with Owens, and was turning her attention to America Fest, a signature Turning Point event scheduled to feature several top officials in President Donald Trump's administration and conservative influencers. Owens has instead suggested France, Israel, and Egypt might have been involved, that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by people close to him, and that state and federal law enforcement are covering up a bigger crime. Owens' campaign following Kirk's September 10th assassination has driven deep divisions within the MAGA influencer world. Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and comedian Dave Smith have all defended her to some degree, while Tim Pool and Ben Shapiro have both described Owens' actions as evil, and Nick Fuentes has said she's a narcissist hurting America.
It's definitely dividing the nation. And some of the things that she's said are, I mean, I do actually believe that if TPUSA wanted to sue her, which I don't think they don't want that kind of hassle. But I think when you begin to say, oh, you shouldn't support these people, and you begin to make it like TPUSA, everyone knew, like Charlie's friends had to have known. These are the kinds of things she said, that the people closest to Charlie had to have known. And so, whistleblower on Candace Owens, when she was the president of Blexit a few years ago, has something to say. So, some people are beginning to come out talking about who is Candace to speak, because she's got a bit of a tarnished past and some things she might not want out there in public. So, somebody who knew her when she was president of Blexit a few years ago is speaking out.
Both my husband and I volunteered and worked for Candace Owens' nonprofit organization, Blexit, in 2020, 2021, and 2022. The last 3 years that she was president of that organization, they were $1 million in the hole every single year. In 2022, she paid herself $250,000 that year and claimed on the tax forms that she was working an average of 30 hours a week for Blexit. This is while she was doing her Daily Wire show every week. And I want you to go and look at her platform during 2022. Was she even ever mentioning Blexit during that time? Because she's like basically abandoned that mission. Yet she claims she was working 30 hours a week for Blexit. And then you can look this up. All of this is public knowledge. Go to ProPublica. It's a place where you can look up Form 990s, where you can look up the tax returns on these nonprofits. That year, Blexit spent $800,000 on social media fundraising. And then she also spent another $380,000 on security. These are donor funds. And when I was volunteering for Blexit, we were doing events like delivering meals and lunches to police stations. She was never part of those things. What she was part of was the Blexit rallies, where she was flying in private jets to these rallies, using donor funds to fly in private jets. And you're going to be like, oh, you're just a hater. You're just a hater for doing this. Wait a second. Didn't Candace go after Kimberly? Didn't Candace go after Kimberly Klasick for doing these same things? Isn't she demanding Turning Point to be very transparent about their funds and their fundraising? Yet she is allowed to operate Blexit in the hole by negative $1 million every single year for the last 3 years she has it, and then just pawn it off to Turning Point USA? Yeah, in 2023, Turning Point USA they took over Blexit because Candace couldn't run it. She was running it into negative $1 million every year. In fact, that 2022, it was negative 1.7 million. You can go and fact check every single thing I have just said to you. Go to ProPublica.org, look up Blexit organization. Candace, did you lie? Did you lie in 2022 about working 30 hours a week for Blexit? I'm just asking questions.
I'm just asking questions. I don't know, but I know. All right, we'll be right back. Hey there, many of you would value getting your hands on some Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, or fenbendazole. Contact Mia at SozoHealth at proton.me. You know, Proverbs 19:5 says, a false witness will not go unpunished, and whoever pours out lies will not go free. All of this is an epic example of how not to live. And it is one thing to go after evil in the world and to expose the wicked works of darkness. It's another thing to be the one who creates lies and becomes the wicked person. It's a completely separate thing. Now, as Candace's audience is actually turning on her, Jesus Enrique Rosas, the body language guy, says that this was pinned and then deleted 5 minutes later. House of Candace is crumbling before our eyes, he says. So this is a post by Candace Owens right after she had done the, a quick, the interview. I think she had done the post after meeting with Erica. I think it was the full post. Okay, I'm a bit frustrated by the comments here. Foremost, I was only given the option for a closed-door meeting. I obviously agreed to it. It was almost 5 hours long. I need more time to digest. I just wanted to present the facts to you all today of what they said without any of my own innuendo, because there is a lot to digest and pray about. Yes, I'm sure she's praying about it. It's difficult to put into words what it's like to be in my position. My. and to have to consider the scenarios that no person on earth should have to consider. How many people can even say they've watched a friend of theirs be murdered in cold blood over politics? We all saw that. We all love Charlie. Yes, your friend, being that you were close, definitely a very hard thing. Nonetheless, very surprising what you have taken to doing after this horrible tragedy. I can't imagine that in the wake of the death of someone personal to me, having had that happen, how shocking, how wounding, how very grievous it would be to my spirit. I can't imagine then doing what you've done, literally destroying what he's built. I mean, you're just off the charts, wrong, to put it in a nice way. And then has to consider the possibility that entire governments colluded to make it happen. The possibility that entire governments colluded to make it happen, and maybe even the people close to him. So she's saying this after meeting with Erica. She's still on about them. Did this really thaw? It thawed for her. This is what I said at the beginning. She'll have a little bit of, reprieve, nicey, and it's going to get probably uglier than it ever was. I think that's where we're headed. All while being attacked from every media group and influencer in the world. It's very heavy stuff. And on top of it, I have to deal with how fickle the audience is. If I make even one mistake in pronunciation, God forbid. Oh, does she get called out on that? I make mistakes on pronunciation too, but I know she wasn't saying some interesting things. The way that she would pronounce it was something, but I don't think that's at all a concern. I mean, if you love somebody, you just, we all let pronunciation and stumbles on words go. The problem is when you're actually harming people in the wake of all that has happened. Take a look at this. Piers Morgan. Oh, man, this was good. And Candace Owens. Take a look.
The reason I told the Alex Jones story is he did incredibly well out of Sandy Hook with his investigations. But as was established in the court case against him, brought by the families eventually, and I think we're going to see the same thing with Brigitte Macron and you, is that he was weaponizing deliberate lies for money. And I think you
Brigitte
did that.
Macron has a penis. I really want you to know that.
Brigitte Macron does not have a penis.
Brigitte Macron has a penis.
No, she doesn't.
I'm sorry.
She had 3 children.
Did she get it removed?
She had 3
Did he get
children.
it removed? Yeah, you can have adoptive children. You can call somebody, but Brigitte Macron was born a dude named Jean-Michel Trogneux. Well, and I just feel, I want you to know that. I want you to know that Brigitte Macron probably stands peeing up. Probably pee standing up is what I want you to know.
The beauty is we have a big bet.
I think Brigitte
we have
stands.
a big bet, and we're going to find out because it's going to court. And, you will lose that court case. I think you will.
You can have a cursed penis, or you can have a blessed penis. I'm in for blessed penis, amen? If you're going to have a penis, you might as well have a blessed one, amen?
Ooh, it's going to be interesting, isn't it, coming up? A lot of people not buying the Brigitte Macron thing. I think Tucker had talked to Candace, and he says, and it's true, but it's because of the influence of Candace on all of this. I mean, I kind of hope it's true, because otherwise, look what Brigitte Macron has gone through. Like, as a woman, if somebody thinks you're trans, the whole thing is just, it's going to get interesting. Can you imagine how George Farmer, her husband, feels right now? Some people saying that there's a problem there, that, he did go with her to Erica's, and then I think the meeting, and then I think he kind of left early or something. I don't know. I got just little things she would say. It made it sound like that. But imagine that you've got this wife who doesn't give a rip what she's saying, whose character she's assassinating, what big organizations she's trying to destroy with big money who can actually sue her. I mean, it's kind of interesting. So Piers Morgan again, holding Candace to the fire.
Do I think someone at Turning Point pulled the trigger? No. Obviously, I don't think someone at Turning Point pulled the trigger.
Do you think anybody at Turning Point
who did pull the trigger? So how can I say that they're...
Did anybody at Turning Point, in your opinion, know that Charlie Kirk was going to be murdered?
There is specifically 2 people at Turning Point USA, and I have communicated that information to Erica and Justin Strife, that I would not be surprised if they had foreknowledge of Charlie Kirk being assassinated.
But do you have any evidence?
I'm not going to name. I am not going to name those people, okay? Because it's not right for me to name those people until I know for a fact that they did.
Did you give the names Did you give the names to Erica?
Yes, so I absolutely did.
You gave the names to Erica of 2 employees, current employees at Turning Point, who you believe were involved in the preparation for the murder of Charlie Kirk. Is that what you're saying?
I told them that if I were in your shoes, these would be 2 employees that I would look further into. That's
and what evidence do you have that they had any prior knowledge of the murder?
Because I don't have concrete evidence is the reason why I'm not naming them. So I've been
responsible. You've got no evidence,
I'm not saying,
but you're telling the widow that these 2 people may have been involved in the murder. But you see the problem.
Well, what the evidence for it is people that there is not concrete evidence. It's like you're trying to get me to say something that I never said and then asking me to defend it.
No, I'm asking what evidence you've got.
Let's actually go to, you're asking me privately, did I communicate to them that I think you should look further? That's called an investigation.
Wow. I'm speechless. She is a backbiting troublemaker. You see, she has no evidence. That is not okay. One more here from Piers Morgan, because he was on fire. Take a look.
Obviously, for this to have been pulled off, there had to have been multiple people involved. There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen. I didn't say that they murdered Charlie.
You said that people at Turning Point were complicit in his murder.
No, my exact sentence that I said was that there were people at Turning Point who are engaged in a cover-up.
No, you didn't.
I believe that thoroughly.
Candace, you didn't say that. You said literally.
I did say that on my entire show.
You said there were people at Turning Point complicit in his murder.
Okay.
That's what you said.
Obviously, for this to have been pulled off, there had to have been multiple people involved. There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen.
You said complicit in the murder. Because I said who at Turning Point was involved in his murder. And
let me clarify for you. Okay, you can keep saying what I said or you can listen to what I am saying.
Okay.
When I was using the analogy of JFK and we were connecting it, I was basically pushing back on you because you were suggesting that, all of these people being involved would be crazy. So I was applying the analogy of what happened to JFK. Well, you actually, if you go back and listen.
I said I don't know JFK's assassination. And we recently had a lot of the files released, which did not conclusively prove any of these things, right? Now, again, I don't know what happened to JFK.
No,
make it clear.
Piers, I really think you're not holding on to your thoughts
Candace,
here correctly.
let me spell out my thought very...
There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen. My entire show...
You said there were people at Turning Point complicit in his murder.
Okay.
That's what you said.
I really think you're not holding on to your thoughts
Candace,
here correctly.
let me spell out my thought very...
Right. Piers Morgan is not holding on to his thoughts correctly. Okay. So there's a guy. Remember the whole Egyptian plane thing? And I find this really fascinating. She says all these planes were tracking Erica, and she had a spreadsheet, and she had it all how it is. Well, a guy on the internet took her to task. And he's got huge numbers watching what he's doing. And he's exposing Candace Owens, the Egyptian planes. Take a look at what he put together.
On September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at Utah Valley University. Police say they have the shooter. There is a confession, DNA, and a recovered weapon. His name is Tyler Robinson. His parents identified him from FBI photos and helped turn him in. But online, a very different story has taken hold. A story claiming this wasn't a lone gunman, but a coordinated multinational operation involving Egypt, Israel, France, the United States, federal agencies, TPUSA executives, Brigitte Macron, and even French legionnaires. And at the center of it all are 2 planes. Candace Owens has told millions of people that 2 Egyptian military aircraft, SU-BTT and SU-BND, tracked Erica Kirk's movements 73 times over 3 years.
Between 2022 and September of 2025, both of those aircrafts, SUBTT, the yellow plane, and SUBND, the blue plane, showed 68 overlaps with Erica's documented locations, okay? 68 overlaps. I have since been able to add now 73 times that this overlapped, okay? And 29 of those instances also happened to include Charlie. I am telling you this information has been completely verified. I am showing you this on a spreadsheet now. These are all the instances in which this plane, all 68 instances that this plane crossed with Erica.
She says the odds of this happening randomly are
less than a 0.00000001% probability, okay, under random distribution models that these Egyptian planes coincidentally landed around Erica at these times.
In her words, the Egyptian planes hold the key.
The Egyptian planes hold the key, and that is obvious. Maybe these planes might be the key to everything. They hold the key to solving Charlie's assassination.
Wow. I mean, there is a lot of evidence that she's just kind of in a circular motion of chaos. And I can't imagine her household, what this is doing to her family, her children. You just can't believe her. You can't believe, like, there is no credible evidence even for everything that she said about the FBI being involved, about the Israel, Mossad, about the French, the Egyptians. At this point, there's literally no evidence. She'll always say, oh, I know someone, or she has a tip line. Obviously, a lot of people have been pranking the tip line. They do not think that there are those out there that just get just as much joy of creating chaos as Candace Owens. And those people are now writing scenarios, bringing up things that it could be this, it could be that. And they're sending her tips, and they're ridiculous. And one she read on her entire broadcast, which basically takes everyone to her lawyer's office, the building. And for what? What does it matter? Where everyone has offices. It's so hilarious. So Candace Owens, 66% of these locations are wrong. Let's look at a further clip regarding the planes.
I screenshotted that spreadsheet and rebuilt it line by line. She says she verified everything using Flight Radar 24. So I did exactly what she claimed she did. I bought the Flight Radar 24 business subscription, the same one she says she used. Then I went further. I purchased a $950 3-year flight log from FlightAware to independently verify every entry. When you compare what the planes are actually doing to what Candace claims they did, the results aren't close. 66% of her location claims are wrong. And in 60% of the cases, the aircraft is on an entirely different continent. She has devoted much of her last 21 episodes to tying Charlie Kirk's murder to an international conspiracy centered on these two aircraft.
Egyptian plane, Egyptian planes, Egyptian military planes, Egyptian planes, Egyptian planes, Egyptian planes, Egyptian planes, Egyptian military planes, Egyptian planes, Egyptian military plane, Egyptian planes, Egyptian plane, Egyptian planes, Egyptian planes, Egyptian military planes, Egyptian planes.
Egyptian planes. And all of it just a bunch of nonsense. Why would Egyptian planes be flying around to where Erica Kirk is? She's a mom. They didn't kill her. She's a mom with 2 kids and a life. Not always even where Charlie Kirk was to do these events because she was busy being a mom. Really, really cray-cray. So I love what this guy put together. One more. Candace says TPUSA knew about the planes and tried to kill the story.
I just want to know why, Charlie. I want to know why the decision was made to murder Charlie Kirk, a decision that very clearly had to be approved by Charlie's friends.
She suggested TPUSA knew about the planes and tried to kill the story.
There are good guys everywhere. You know, lightness is always fighting darkness. And I received an interesting tip from a Fed that I'm going to share with you now that might be relevant. But Turning Point USA put in a personal request to try to get the Egyptian plane story killed, and I find that to be very interesting. What is it about these Egyptian planes that Turning Point USA didn't want them to be discussed? I don't know. But I am going to find out. I think we kind of have found out in a weird, really effed up way, actually. And it makes my stomach turn.
She claimed Israelis, Zionists, and the US government panicked when she mentioned them.
I can tell you that right now in government, there is real panic. There is real discussion happening regarding the Egyptian planes. It is 1000% legit, and it caused a lot of panic. And we're getting a lot of phone calls now from people telling us it has caused panic.
And that Israel censored her TikTok videos about the planes.
Speaking of the unique relationship between Egypt and Israel, TikTok is hitting us for videos talking about the Egyptian planes. That's very strange. Israel's moderator served in the IDF.
We've got more coming right up, but Proverbs 13:6 says, righteousness guards the person of integrity. Righteousness is like a shield. When you have a righteous heart, you refuse to lie, you refuse to bear false witness, and it becomes a guard to your life. But wickedness overthrows the sinner. We'll be right back. Just like this storm going on outside, some of us have a storm going on inside our blood. Due to some of the issues that we faced in the last few years and the toxins in the environment, we've got things that just don't belong there. So I went to a live blood analyst and found out that I had parasites, crazy little things that were floating around, all the red blood cells in my body. It was a mess. So I took a natural blood supplement and I went back within 14 days and I found out that my blood had been completely revolutionized. This is what it looked like. All the red blood cells, plump, flowing freely, no little crazy things floating around in the blood. It was absolutely magnificent. If you feel like perhaps you could benefit from a blood cleansing system, a natural cleansing system, naturesupplement3@gmail.com to get started today. All of it is baffling, and one of the reasons that I'm covering it is because it's right in our faces. It is showing us if we have discernment or not. It's kind of like this issue with Israel. It's a discernment issue, and I am watching our world be divided. And there's so many things that can divide us. And I bet if anyone, you or I, sat there and had a conversation and went kind of deep, like a 5-hour conversation, just looking at all these different subjects and what we feel, of course, we would all find division from each other. None of us thinks the same. Yet we need to find a way to walk in unity. One of the reasons that I want to present some things here today is because, our team, Toby and Marsha and myself, were, and JT as well, like we're all finding things that we want to present a more, a larger perspective, because a lot of people, I can say, they're just watching Candace shows and they'll see little things like this and they don't even think it's weird.
Where was Brigitte Macron on the dates that Egyptian plane was from 9/4 through to 9/11? Where was Brigitte Macron?
I don't know. I mean, now it's about where's Brigitte Macron when the Egyptian planes were flying. Where is it? What are we to do, Charlie? I mean, where was Brigitte? Now is Brigitte being followed by the Egyptian planes? Does the president know? President Macron, have you tried to meet with him? Talk about this whole assassination thing? It's wow. Okay, one more, and then we're going to close. Candace has absolutely, on top of it all, no evidence and has shown no evidence of not only where Brigitte Macron is when the Egyptian planes are flying all over the world. Okay. And God bless them for flying. People need to get around. But also, she has no and submits no evidence of how she knows where Erica is. Erica's a quiet person. Her itinerary is not just out there. Take a look.
When you compare Candace's claims to the actual data, 66% are wrong. 39 of the 65 verifiable entries place the plane on the wrong continent. She says the planes are tracking Erica. The aircraft are thousands of miles away. These are not minor errors. They are continent-level inaccuracies. They collapse the foundation of her theory. But there's a deeper problem. Candace provides no verifiable evidence for Erica Kirk's location. No timestamps, no travel records, no photos, nothing. Her entire overlap model depends on data the public cannot verify.
All right. Well, I have some closing thoughts before we go. Our website is lauralyn.tv. Thank you to all of you who are helping us, joining us. We are excited about the next steps in the William Sons project. We do hope to make a big difference in Joseph's life. And for any of you who can help, we would absolutely love that. And for any of you who would like to join us for $50 or more per month, we would absolutely be blessed to send you this silver, beautiful silver, sterling silver necklace and chain. And for all of you who use Zelle, please make sure that you include your email and phone number, whatever you'd like, even your address. That would be fantastic because we have no way of contacting you through those means. And so there's e-transfer, Zelle, PayPal. You can go onto our Canada Helps and make a donation anonymously. We will never know who you are, and that is also difficult. We just want to thank you to all of the anonymous donors. We appreciate it. A lot of you are really inspired by what we're doing to help some people who just need a leg up. You know, so often we have so much. We really do. And God is just stirring our hearts to change the lives of some great people who have no other recourse. They don't have family. They don't have anyone that will ever change. And this man, he's very precious. And all he has is what you saw in that earlier video today. And we can literally change his life. And for very little, really. Painting begins tomorrow. We're doing new flooring. That is going to be this weekend. We're moving furniture in. We're putting a TV up. We're getting new cooktop and some appliances, cleaning everything. It's going to be like a precious home that I would be proud to, if this was all that my own father had, I would be we are making it the best for this wonderful man. So if you can help us, that'd be great. And we do have snail mail. Have we already put it up, JT? P.O. Box 1065, Vedder Crossing, Chilliwack, BC, V2R 3N7. And so thank you. Thank you to all of you who help us with that. I want to leave you with the word today. We've been kind of going through a few Proverbs. Proverbs 14 says this: the wise woman builds her house. I love that verse. The wise woman builds her house. When you've got a life, is it necessarily talking about a physical home? Yeah, I do believe like making your home a wonderful and beautiful place. I think that's awesome. But I think it's also talking about the house that is your life, who you care for, how you love, how you appreciate others, how you build warmth, beauty, and giving into everything that you do. A wise woman builds her house. And I need to remember that sometimes when I get that little girl tone. Have you ever had that female tone? Because you want things done the way you want them done. And I always remember that, making a beautiful home for those that God has entrusted into your life. Who is that? If you're blessed to have a husband, it's your husband, it's your friends, it's your children, taking care of your dogs, building a place of beauty, warmth, surrounded by love. A wise woman builds her house. She puts effort into it. You know how we've been doing this, this home makeover? It takes effort. It's been some late nights, getting it done, getting all the preparations, making it happen. It takes effort. It's intentional effort into making that house work. But listen to the last part of this verse. It says, but with her own hands, the foolish one tears hers down. You know, it's kind of a message to women today, but we all get to choose whether we are going to build that house, build the family unit, build the friendships, build the home church, build the life that brings us so much, and a balanced life. You can't have all work and no play. You can't have all play and no work. You have to kind of have a balanced life. And the Holy Spirit is there to help us with that. He really is. He talks to us if we'll listen to him. And listen to this second verse as I close. Whoever fears the Lord walks uprightly. If you have the fear of the Lord, you are guarding yourself. You are making sure that you are not walking in error and sin. You are making sure that you are not speaking lies, nor uttering things that cause chaos. You are also making sure that you are exposing the wickedness. If there is wickedness to be exposed, do as the Word of God says and expose wickedness. But do not be a talebearer. Do not cause dissension where it does not need to be. But those who despise him, those who despise the Lord, they are devious in their ways. Proverbs 14:2. Can I just say that again? But those who despise him, those who despise the Lord God, are devious in their ways. May we spend our lives and our treasures and our energy on building a beautiful life, a life that God has given us. Good night, everyone.
You know, it's not easy to deliver the truth of what our sick world is doing, but for some of us, we feel that we have no choice. Because if we are silent about these abominable things, then we are letting evil go unchecked, and we cannot do that. For those of you wonderful people who are writing me and are sharing your encouragement, I am deeply grateful. Thank you for all the letters that you've been sending. Thank you for the donations and the support. I found out that in order to speak the truth, you have to become very, very strong. If you would go to my website at www.lauralynn.tv, you'll find all of the ways that you can contact me. Remember, my friends, all is well. All is well. Thanks for joining me.